Hello, everybody. What's going on? This is Casualeann. I know it's been a little while since any of you saw me, but I'm back now with the Money in the Bank predictions video. Well, this time it's going to actually be a live stream, and I'm so excited to hear what your thoughts are about Money in the Bank 2023. Like, this is oh my goodness. I feel like I say this about most of the pay-per-views, but this is one of my favorite ones. I love the Money in the Bank concept. It's so enjoyable, particularly obviously the ladder matches. Um, if this is your first time on the channel, then please feel free to like this video, comment on it. We got a live chat going, so hopefully I'll be able to see all of your comments. Um, it looks like they're up, and I'm trying to take just a little bit more time for some folks to come in, and I really appreciate whomever may end up seeing this because I know it's a little late at night. Um, but yeah, like, comment, share, subscribe, all that good YouTube admin type stuff. But actually, I think there's also a banner going across or a ticker that has my Cash App down there if you would like to support the channel. I would greatly appreciate it. I'm not going to say baby needs clothes because I don't have a baby, but Cat Laptop needs a new screen. Like, Casualeann, as a channel, it does take work, it does take tech. So it really helps out a great deal if you're able to support the channel. But we're gonna go into our first prediction, and I'm gonna start with the Intercontinental Championship bout. So this is Matt Riddle versus our Intercontinental Champion Gunther. So I don't know about this. Like, I'm thinking maybe Randy Orton might come back, this time like truly as a Viper, kind of turn his back on Matt Riddle, and in doing so help Gunther retain. I could also see him coming back as a babyface, like after Riddle loses, and defending him, kind of like, okay, so you did that to my boy. Well, now let's see what you can do with me. And then that leads into a program with Gunther, kind of raises Gunther's profile a bit because, what better way to break into the main event than, having wins over Randy Orton. But those are just a couple of things that I was thinking about with regard to that match. But even Ludwig Kaiser, he could assist Gunther in colorful fashion as he is wont to do. Giovanni Vinci could also help in not as colorful fashion at all. But no matter what interferences may or may not come, I do think that Gunther will retain, and it'll be after a potentially show-stealing performance. Like, this match is going to be awesome. But with that, we'll go to Shayna Baszler and Ronda Rousey, our women's tag team champions, our undisputed women's tag team champions, versus Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez. So this one's pretty straightforward. Ronda has expressed interest in building the women's tag team division. Where Ronda wants, Ronda gets. So, like, as much as I like Liv Morgan and as much as I like Raquel Rodriguez, especially as a champion, especially as a tag team champion, it's not happening. I'm sorry. It's going to be probably more like an extended squash, to be honest. They'll get like a little bit of offense in, but that's it. They get it in, and then Ronda and Shayna will take them out. So, yep, and Ronda and Shayna retain. And again, let me know your thoughts as the stream's going on. And hopefully I'll be able to respond to your comments here. Um, I would love to know what you all actually think about the fact that the Women's Tag Team Championships are combined now. How are Ronda and Shayna doing with all of this? Um, I will make a comment or two about the Universal Tag Team Championship match on SmackDown. This is the men, because it just happened. And I saw that it appears that Kevin Owens may have injured himself or gotten injured. And I certainly hope that is not the case. Um, if it is, I mean, hopefully, obviously, I hope he'll return and he'll recover quickly. If that's the case, we don't know yet. But that begs the question, if he got hurt, like, what does that mean potentially for the Undisputed Tag Team Championships? Like, depending on how long he's out, like, are they going to have to relinquish them? If they have to relinquish them, then who potentially becomes champions in their wake? You know, there could be a case for the Usos becoming champions again. I think Pretty Deadly's pretty much out of contention at the moment. There's not a lot of depth in the tag team division right now, so there's just no telling how that may go down. Yeah, Pretty Deadly. I know that you need to be vibrant and stand out, but man, I'm having a hard time with them right now. I really, really am. Like, yeah, I just saw your comment, Katana. I certainly hope that KO is not hurt at all. But we'll see. He was definitely kind of limping along, like maybe he couldn't plant his feet properly. But yeah, Pretty Deadly. I mean, they're getting people talking. I give that to them. I'm still mad at them for stealing John Morrison's slow mo, because his entrance was one of the best entrances ever, and now they've just messed it all up. But anyhow, they were the right people for Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn to beat, because they were UK favorite, or not favorites, but they were from the UK. But Sami and KO were still more over than they are as heels. It really worked out. But we'll go to Cody Rhodes versus Dominic Mysterio. So, mommy's little Latino heat. He's gotten himself into quite a bit of trouble right here, But I mean, he's prison hardened. So, he'll be fine. It'll be okay. That's the reason he'll be okay too. But Rhea and Dominic have been just a jewel in Judgment Day's crown. Like, I'm elated every time they're on my screen. So I'm not sure actually who's gonna win this one. I don't know. Like, I guess there's more against Cody than there is Dominic, because depending on where on the card the match appears, you could have potentially the whole Judgment Day getting involved in their match. But then you got Brock Lesnar too. Like, he could come back at any time. They're gonna want to start ramping that feud back up, because they're probably gonna have another match at SummerSlam. So, like, I just there are so many ways that Cody Rhodes could potentially get put out. So I'm not exactly sure. But whichever way they go about it, I hope that they give the match some time, that they let Dominic actually show what he can do. I feel like with that point, I'm like the little old man from Coming to America who likes Randy Watson. Like that boy good. I'm telling you, Dom is good. He needs some time. He's not just good at getting heat. He's actually a good wrestler, and people need to give him some time to show his stuff. Let's see what comments we have. Hey there, Clark Street. I appreciate you rolling through. Yes, I love your content. But yeah, I just he is good at making people hate him too. But that's not all. We'll go the logical route in terms of a prediction and just say, Cody's broken arm, the Judgment Day, Brock Lesnar, all of that is just too much. Dominic is gonna kind of barely squeak out a victory, or Cody will have the most massive babyface insurmountable victory ever. But let's say Dom. We'll say Dom wins. Thank you, WJ. I appreciate that. Royal Rumble poster there, and Miss Jacqueline as well, of course. Good to see you, Mr. Joe Mama. Chilling in Montego Bay. Hey, all right. Yes, I appreciate that all the more. You stopping by. Yes, I hope you're having a lot of fun down there. Okay, next I got down the men's Money in the Bank ladder match. So that's Logan Paul, Ricochet, Shinsuke Nakamura, LA Knight, Santos Escobar, Butch, and Damian Priest. So with this, I see it going down one of three different ways. They creative can either make the fans angry, they can make them happy, or they can do what's right. And I know you might be thinking, well, isn't the fans being happy the right thing to do? And I mean, not necessarily, because it's part of the spectacle to have that drama going, to have the ups and downs and everything. But then that begs the question, who would make the fans the angriest to actually see? Who out of these 7 people would the fans just go ballistic if he actually won Money in the Bank? I say Logan Paul. Logan Paul is the one that would just tear the arena apart if he actually won. It looks like that's Clark Street Wrestling's guess also, or at least their favorite to win. But yeah, I mean, him being Mr. Money in the Bank, he would be such a tool. He would be terrible. You'd barely see him, which is bad enough for a Money in the Bank winner. And then on top of that, when he comes back, he would be such a huge annoyance. Oh my goodness, he'd make up for lost time for how much he'd annoy people. But yeah, that's who you get if you want the fans mad. But what if you want them happy? I say then you go with wrestling's Tim Allen, LA Knight. And I mean, he's fine. He's fine. I mean, but the live crowds absolutely love him. I feel a lot of Ric Flair, The Rock energy from him. The Rock, especially. But since the crowds are loving on them or on him so much, if you want to make them happy, LA Knight's your choice. But if you want to do the right thing, you got to think about it. Who has been crushing it lately? Someone who's had star-making performance after performance, gives this major cusp on the main event type big energy. Who's part of one of the biggest factions going right now? It's got to be Damian Priest. From Elimination Chamber, the San Juan Street fight, he works his behind off, and this is kind of a next logical step, sort of a restart to just really break him into that next level. And on top of that, if Finn loses to Seth Rollins, then that could get some jealousy going, kind of ratchet up that tension between Finn and Priest, and lead to, the Judgment Day potentially imploding, or them at least feuding with each other. Yeah, we got some more agreements on Mr. Paul there. But the thing with even each of these three pathways, usually there are 8 guys in Money in the Bank. Usually. And right now there are only 7. So it would not surprise me at all if they go and do the 7, or they go and do what they did last year and have someone randomly come in and have them end up winning it. If that's the case, I think it's either Drew McIntyre or Bobby Lashley. Either way, I'd love to see one of them become Mr. Money in the Bank. But we'll go with my heart here, and we'll say that Damian Priest is going to win and become Mr. Money in the Bank. All right, so our World Heavyweight Championship match, Seth Rollins versus Finn Balor. Now, I would love to hear your all's comments on who you actually think that they're like, who's going to win with this one. Yeah, I've been wondering that too, Katana. I know that Drew's been doing like some ambassador work for like the Special Olympics. I saw one of those, but I'm not sure. Like, I heard that he was recovering some from injury too. I don't know when he's gonna be back. And they had a video, package up for Lashley, and that was a few weeks ago, and we haven't seen him since. So I don't know. I think WWE needs them, in my personal opinion. Like, the landscape is not as it's not the same. It's not as vibrant without either one of them. And hopefully Drew will at least put in an appearance. Like, they're going to be in London, they're going to be in the UK. Yeah, Drew needs to show up some kind of way, even if he's not in the match. And Lashley definitely needs to come back too. I agree, WJTV. But with Seth Rollins and Finn Balor, I've got to admit, I like the way that they've incorporated kind of Finn Balor's real life injury and made it part of the storyline. Now, I don't know why this bothers me less than like when they did it with the Brawling Brutes and the New Day with Big E's injury. Maybe it's because of the seriousness of the injury, like Big E, this potentially ending his in-ring career, whereas, Finn's was a shoulder injury. Or maybe it was just the time, like it had literally just happened and they kept making it part of the storyline. I'm not sure, but Finn is definitely involved with one of the most interesting things happening right now, the Judgment Day. Even though he seemed a little out of place sometimes, I guess that involves him supposedly being the de facto leader. So everybody's all, over the top and stuff like that, but Finn's a little more controlled chaos. But yeah, they've reached back like 7 years to make the storyline meaningful, and like, I absolutely love that. And that's why it's going to be so sad when Rollins just beats him, because that's exactly what's going to happen. Judgment Day can't interfere in all their members' matches. And let's face it, Dom is the one who needs their interference more. He needs their distractions more. So, yeah, Rollins is going to win, but it'll be after one of the matches of the night. As far as in-ring action goes, it's probably the one that I'm most looking forward to, especially singles matches for sure. Okay. We have the women's Money in the Bank ladder match next. And so that's Becky Lynch versus Bayley versus Trish Stratus versus Zoe Stark versus Io Sky versus Zelina Vega. So we know absolutely who's not winning, which is Becky Lynch and Butch on the men's side, because we saw them grab their briefcases on the go home shows. Like that's like that's their victory moment. That 9 times out of 10, that means they're not winning. I don't think Zoe Stark is going to turn on Trish. I think it's a little early for that, but let me know what you all think about that. Like, is it early for her to turn on her? Is it going to happen? For right now, I don't see it. So their combined efforts are going to kind of neutralize Becky. You know, she's going to be one of the ones that, you know, had that moment that she could have won, but didn't make it. There's Zelina. You know, she's the woman on the island. She has no alliances amongst the women, any other women in the match. Yeah. She doesn't even have the backing of like the home team crowd like she did in Puerto Rico. You know, while it would be cooler than cool to see her take it, you know, I say Io's got it. And that Bayley's going to help her actually get it. Okay, I see Mr. Anthony Blair, he's going for Bayley, it looks like. Not necessarily his personal choice, but he thinks that she is the one that's gonna do it. And I could definitely see that. She's done it before, which, you know, she's got that clout with her. If she has to go over the top over Io in order to get it, to like make that choice, you know, to cast her protege aside, like, to me, that's gonna be the end of Damage Control. Like, if Bayley wins directly over Io, it's done. It's over. That I could easily see that happening for sure. Either way, whether Bayley wins or Io wins, I think it's gonna drive a bigger wedge into in between the two of them. They could even feud over the briefcase, you know, no matter which one of them actually ends up winning. So for our last prediction, we have Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa versus the Usos. The match branded as the Bloodline Civil War. Boy, they have been driving this home a lot. Oh my goodness, the Bloodline Civil War. It wouldn't surprise me if it became some sort of gimmick somehow, if there was something involved that put that sort of stamp on it. Because I mean, every single match card, every single time they refer to the Bloodline now, it is Civil War. Like, enough. We got it. We got it. They're against each other. Okay, we get it. It's all right. It's gonna be okay. What are they fighting for, though, right? Outside of family pride, one of the things they're fighting for is the right to do the we the ones. Who are really the ones? Who are the ones truly? And they even went as far as to hype up the SmackDown segment tonight, commentary did, as the Bloodline explodes. And it's like, how do you know that? Like, in kayfabe, how do you know that? Why are you telling us what's happening? That isn't that the point of kind of watching the show? But all right, I'll okay. This one is kind of tough in terms of predictions. I think it's the mark of a good story, to be honest. But since these are predictions and I got to choose one way or the other, I'm going to say the Usos win. And I almost put in my notes like the Usos win after Jimmy gets pinned. So that lets you know like how back and forth I've been on who is actually going to win this match. Yeah, I agree. This really is one that I'm unsure about. Yeah. Um, I think the bloodline is on a downward trajectory. And so them losing now and Roman getting pinned for the first time in years, that's part of that general downward trajectory. They're losing people, they're losing championships. Next step, Roman gets pinned. Or solo. So, somebody amongst those two. And I find it fascinating that with SmackDown, like the last moment, like the last visual you see is Jay doing the suicide dive off of the top rope. Now, this is something that Roman used to do back in the day when he was a babyface. And I don't know if he just like, if they made him like too big of a star, like, hey, we can't have this man risking it anymore. I don't know what the reason was that he stopped doing it, but like over, not just like the in between the ropes, but like over the top. That's the last thing that Jay did. And so it's almost, maybe I'm reading too much into it, but it's almost like like, is he about to replace him? He says he doesn't want to be the tribal chief, but does the family make him the de facto tribal chief? Who's really to say? I could see Solo betraying Roman. The question with that actually is when. Now, my personal opinion, especially if Jay would end up being the one challenging Roman, is that it could happen at SummerSlam. So that, like, that takes care of any misgivings anybody might have about, Jay's not big enough to beat Roman. Well, if you have Solo turn his back on Roman, and then you have Jay and Solo actually come together, then they can topple the tribal chief. Jay becomes champion. And you can do that for a couple of months or longer if he catches fire. But yeah, I agree. So Solo's going to turn his back too. It's only a matter of time. And they even foreshadowed that a little bit with him kind of like grasping his hands and Jay trying to like plant those seeds in his mind. Like, hey, I don't want to be tribal chief, but I know where my vote is going for who should. Like, kind of like, hey, we got your back. If you choose to come out of this, we got you. So, yeah, either way, I definitely see it. But yeah, the Usos are going to win. Tag team versus two single stars. Got to go with the tag team. And the tag team that have been together since day one, the twin brothers. But that's it for my Money in the Bank predictions. I appreciate you all hanging in there. Again, I know it's late. If you're watching this after it's streamed, or if you didn't get a chat comment in, something that you wanted to say, please comment. Even, after the live chat has closed, please feel free to comment in the video. I'll be watching the comment section during the show. It starts at 3 Eastern. So anything that you put down, I'll definitely be responding to. I'd love to hear more responses of the questions of where the bloodline goes from here, if it's time for Roman to actually lose the championships, how Ronda and Shayna are doing as tag team champions, women's undisputed tag team champions. What happens if KO and Sami Zayn actually have to relinquish them? It didn't look good at the end of their match. I certainly hope that KO is okay, but it didn't look good. But yeah, just let me know what you all think. Again, thank you all. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. And I'll see you guys soon. Like, share, and subscribe.